So, what happens when a region produces world-class science but treats entrepreneurs like some sort of moral failure? Well, for decades across many parts of Europe, universities actually produced papers, patents, conferences, but very little real economic transformation. So the research basically stayed trapped inside the lab. And startups never scaled in that time. So local ecosystems appeared, and they were often left alone without venture capital, without giant tech hubs or political protection. Meanwhile, regions outside the big capitals still had another problem: isolation. No investors nearby, no dense innovation networks, no critical mass. So, in this context, how do you build deep tech companies in this environment? How do you survive? Well, welcome to episode 15, season 5 of InnovEU, the EU Project Chronicles. Today, I'm joined by Panagiotis Takis Konstantinopoulos. He's a project manager at the Patras Science Park in Greece. For more than 30 years, Patras Science Park has been operating exactly at the collision between academia, entrepreneurship, and regional economical survival. So this conversation reveals something most EU project coordinators should note. EU projects are not just funding mechanisms. They are actually ecosystem engineering tools. I like that view. So watch the interview. Don't miss it. This episode of InnovEU, the EU Project Chronicles, is brought to you by my new book, Transition Science in the Economy. In it, I use data from more than 180 countries and 150,000 observations, data points, to show how 5 global transitions, the digital, the green, the new globalization, the transition to a war economy, and the housing crisis transition, how these 5 transitions are collapsing the middle class and rewriting prosperity and power. So if you want a clear map of today's economy and economic chaos, search for Transition Science in the Economy on Amazon and get your copy. Okay, so welcome back to InnovEU, the EU Project Chronicles. Today's guest is Panagiotis Konstantinopoulos. I hope I'm pronouncing correctly. He's the project manager at the Patras Science Park. Patras Science Park is a place I have known for a long time in the beautiful city of Patras in Greece. The Science Park has been supporting startups and innovative companies for more than 30 years now. It combines incubation, business support, technology transfer, and Takis, I think I can call you like that. Takis works at the heart of that mission. He helps connect startups and innovation projects and European funding opportunities. So I really can't wait to discuss with him what science parks really do, how they help companies, startups, and what Europe can learn from local innovation ecosystems like Patras. So let's start here. Welcome, Takis. Thank you very much for your time, for being here. Now, for listeners who may not know the term, or who may know the term but not the reality, what does a science park actually do?
There is a whole range of services that a science park may offer, depending on the country of origin. For example, in France and Italy, there is a huge state funding towards the science and technology parks. So they are funded for staff costs, general expenses, overheads, everything. All their expenses are covered by the state. Now, in Greece, there was a program back in the early 90s to build five technology parks at this time. Then were renamed to science parks in the five biggest cities in Greece. Uh, but in Greece, I believe, as in Portugal and other countries, the state provided us all the infrastructure, the premises, the building, and then abandoned us to, sustain ourselves with our own resources.
Yeah, same thing
Now,
here. Yeah.
the main resources for Patra Science Park come from the hosted companies. They pay rent and utilities cost. So we cover a major expense here, which is utility, and with the rise of the electricity costs, the utility costs are becoming a major nuisance. So we have to figure out sometimes innovative ways to provide the additional services besides incubation. And the role of a park is to identify or to invite early stage startups. Sometimes they don't even have a legal form. They are project teams or research teams. They have to provide them with proof of concept of their innovation, to validate their innovation, to guide them towards becoming a company, a real startup, until they qualify to become an official startup and be registered in the official registry. In Greece, there is an official registry, and there are certain specifications for someone to become a startup. I didn't. Let me start the counter so that we don't exceed the
How long have you
time.
been there?
So there is incubation when you feel that you have something to sell to the world, that you wish to sell to the world. Then, so there is incubation. There is mentoring all the way, coaching. Uh, there is assistance in marketing, internationalization, scale-up activities. But of course, as I said, there are certain levels of science parks that each one of them can pick up the services that they may offer depending on the resources, the human resources that they have, because marketing is not something that anyone or any person with financial background or anyone who claims to be a consultant can offer. You need specialized people, marketing, and of course, scale up is something that needs heavy networking and liaison with investor networks. So, what is not very costly, for example, to connect our companies, our hosted companies with investors, is something that we do. We
Okay.
do quite frequently. The problem is that there are no investors in our area. The investment companies are only in Athens. Athens, though, is only 2 hours away driving. Uh, it's not very far. And in any major event that we organize here, there is one starting in a few days, the Regional Growth Conference, which is organized by the region of Western Greece. Uh, Half of the ministers, the Greek ministers, and deputy ministers and general directors in ministries will be here describing strategies and overall planning for the next years. And in those major events, the companies, the investment companies from Athens are always here.
Okay.
So most of the time we combine. we combine. At the margin of these events, we organize our, networking with our companies,
Hmm.
and all the cost is carried by the investors because they have an interest and they are the ones that will profit.
Sure.
So this is smart thinking, I believe, from our side to avoid heavy expenses
Hmm.
because of unavailability of funds. So, uh, however, in the context of several European projects, we offer additional services uh, and very focused, such as coaching, mentoring, acceleration.
Hmm.
Acceleration is very important for young companies. And acceleration is something that we are investing for the past few years, 5, 6 years. We have a specific interest on acceleration, and we have implemented some acceleration. We are implementing some acceleration programs right now, always in the context with funding of by various programs. And we see an interest from the regional authorities and all the local stakeholders here about acceleration. They all try to organize acceleration programs, but they don't have what we have. We have the incubator.
Hmm.
So, uh, a company that is promising uh, can be hosted in our accelerator and grow with us and with our help. Anyway, this is basically what we
Hmm.
do. What we focus in when we select hosted companies is always high tech.
Okay.
High tech.
But that's a decision, a strategic decision by the
Yeah.
park. It focus on high-tech companies. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
If I could show you a picture outside, we are located at the outskirts of Patras, of the city of Patras, in the middle of the innovation ecosystem of the area. In about 400 meters away, 500 meters, is the University of Patras campus.
Okay.
And a, a research institute about chemical engineering is 100 meters below us. Another informatics institute is about 400 meters away. It is a very interesting, geography.
Mhm.
And, this is why we play the role of a catalyst. And this is why we focus in high-tech companies, because the academic organizations around us
Okay.
produce high-tech
I see. Mhm.
spin-offs.
Let,
Most
let,
of our companies are university and institute spin-offs, but not all.
let me ask you this. I know that the park has or had a technology transfer office. I'm not sure if it still exists. It's still working. But my question was, how do you do technology transfer? What does that really mean?
Technology transfer is for us, the TTO office uh, is doing the matching between the surrounding organizations towards the productive companies of the productive or services sector in our area. So there is a lot of research and a lot of research outcomes that are produced by universities and research institutes, but they remain only in the form of scientific papers. So uh, we, I can't say we're very proactive on this, but when we get the stimulation from a company that is looking for a certain technology, we can easily, let me put it this way, do a matching if there is one available, of course, that will help the company and will help the university, validate and exploit its results. You should know that in Greece, entrepreneurship in the universities for many, many years was something like a sin. A sin, yeah.
Not just in
Uh,
Greece.
it was against the mentality of the universities. It has been now 10 years, uh, maybe more, that there is a change of, there is a shift in this mentality. And, we follow the examples of other countries in the north that have picked up the entrepreneurship spirit much quicker than we did. Now, for Greece, all the studies, all the reports say that we are emerging, we are rising quickly. We are a case study, a positive, let me say, successful example. But I believe that we have lost many, many years in the past. I don't know what is right and what is wrong. There are people that think that R&D should not be, is not made for making money, but they don't realize the difference between R&D and innovation.
Hmm.
Innovation is about making money.
Yeah.
And making money for the entrepreneur means creating new jobs and creating growth in your area, which is what we all want.
Yeah, creating value in the end. Creating value is the most important. And
Yeah.
you work directly with the EU projects. My question is, how do these European programs help Science Park create value, again, for startups, researchers, SMEs? How do you use the EU projects in your activity?
Let me give you a good example now, because for the past 5 years, as I said, we are focusing in acceleration, mentoring, coaching in specific activities because we are a science park. We have five innovation hubs. We can deal with agriculture, with aromatic plants and pharmaceutical plants, with everything, with cannabis. We have a hub about cannabis. That's terrible. It was smelling all over the park. Um, we had an experience in a Horizon project which ended 1.5 years ago. Uh, you probably know there was a strand of projects approved by Horizon that the idea was that the northern countries uh, bring know-how to the southern
Mm.
countries. Uh, we know what are the advantages and disadvantages in being in the south. So we were lucky to be involved in a project where there were three participants from the north and three from the south. Italy, Greece, and Bulgaria from the south, Belgium, uh, Ger- Belgium, Germany, and Austria from the north. Okay, very good. And we learned a lot. One of the partners from Belgium, just to get the idea, was the European Business Angels Network, EBAN. EBAN is amazing.
Mhm.
It's an amazing organization. We learned a lot about them. We organized the acceleration together and coaching, face-to-face coaching and mentoring with a lot of people. We organized pitching events, competitions, uh, and we learned some tricks that they do. For example, when when you have a pitching competition, what can you give as an award to the winners if you do not wish to give money because the project does not allow you or you don't have available funds? And we were giving them free tickets to the EBAN annual event, for example, and all costs paid,
Mhm.
transportation costs and everything. And at
So
least
it
in
was a networking opportunity for the winners.
Oh, yes. And, in Eban events, I attended the event in Thessaloniki, in northern Greece. there were numerous investors and very, very top level mentors, uh, businessmen that gave us great, great presentations. And all the startups that attended these events were, amazed and thankful. So we learned a lot, as I said, about promotion, communication of
Mhm.
your ideas, of your events, and of course a lot of networking. But this is not enough. This is not enough, and I'm sure you agree with me. These guys have a lot of money, a lot of infrastructure. In our area, in the south of Greece, there is only one incubator, ours.
Mm.
They are all in Athens and in Thessaloniki, a few. Some of them are private. Ours is not okay. We belong to the state, although we are a Société Anonyme, we act as a private organization, but we are owned by the Ministry of Finance. So, uh, how can a transfer project, a transfer of know-how project, create what we are missing? Investors, investor networks, and infrastructure, organizational structures, and real structures, premises. We can't. So we came up with the idea after this experience that ho- about how to resolve these problems and minimize the gap with the northern people, but without investing a lot. And of course, I'm a cluster guy. I have worked with clusters in the past since they first started in Greece in 1998 when I was in Athens. It's I love clustering and I love networking and cooperation. Cooperation is very difficult,
Mhm.
not only among SMEs. Among SMEs is difficult, but also among local stakeholders because they compete with each other.
Yeah.
Uh, it is true. Even the university considers a park as a competitor because they extend to outside, let me see, the limits of their range, uh, and they think that what we do is something that they should do. Anyway, competition is always present, even among stakeholders. But I convinced the local stakeholders that we all have to gain from it. When you're looking for mentors, and if you don't have volunteer top class mentors,
Mm.
can you, at least for simple things like how to select the legal form for your company, how to speak about intellectual property rights, uh, we all have people in our area that can qualify as experts, at least to teach some early stage startups. And I thought that we can really create a network and a pool of experts, not by depending on ourselves only, but depending on the local chambers, universities, all academic organizations, and even NGOs. And
So you've
I
been
will,
creating an ecosystem of local agents. Is that
yes,
the
and,
idea?
and I ask them to think of us and the network in everything they do, because we can help also without any cost and without any serious effort. We can help them in everything. So it's an interesting experience, and it is an experience that it is being run for 1.5 year by 9 different countries, 8 countries, 9 partners from 8 countries in the Balkan area, of course, Greece, Italy, Croatia, and Slovenia from the member states, and then it's Albania, Serbia, uh, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Montenegro. Uh, we are 8 countries.
Is that a
This is the
you funded project or no funding?
It's a project. It's
Okay.
an
Mhm.
Interreg IPA Adrian project.
Okay.
Adriatic Ionian area. And this is run by countries that are not members. They don't have funding. They don't have the concept of a region. They're quite different from us. And and even by countries that are uh, higher, more developed than us. Italy is a great country, but they are in the south, and we have a lot in common. Uh, and mostly we have the same problems in common. So this was the first pillar to set up the project, the local clustering. We call it distributed local network. We
Mhm.
distribute tasks to all, and we ask them what to perform a mentoring activity that includes acceleration and face-to-face mentoring and everything. What can you do with
Mhm.
your people? You know, a chamber of commerce has access to a lot of entrepreneurs, experienced entrepreneurs and experts. So the first step was the local cluster of stakeholders. And then we started investing in sustainability issues and quality issues to make our acceleration program more state of the art. We wanted to infuse sustainability, the ESG concept, to companies, to the SMEs in our area from the start, not to training afterwards, but from the start. They are young people, they should learn that sustainability is a key issue. Sustainability of the planet, sustainability is about their company viability, saving energy and saving resources in their operation, but also in the operation in the area and in the planet. And then there was a third pillar, which was the design of a new digital platform, which should be ready at the end of June now. And it started as a platform an AI-driven platform that will support the entrepreneurs to identify their real needs in training. So what knowledge they really are missing and what capacities they are missing. For example, they will be able to evaluate, to assess for themselves the digitalization level of their company, uh, their knowledge in marketing, in commercialization, and this platform will direct them to the appropriate acceleration program. Now, to direct them to the appropriate acceleration program means what? That we will say, okay, there's a program in Athens or in Vienna. This is not really. So we had to think about it a lot more. And
You're being ambitious there, and that's challenging.
it
Getting
is,
specialized acceleration programs for
yes,
every need. Well, that's a lot.
I, I believe that this platform will help us and will help the SMEs uh, very much so that acceleration can become almost completely virtual. Acceleration must be with physical presence or partly virtual, but not completely virtual. So, in the context of another project, then that came 1 year later, and it is an Interreg NextMed, is for the Mediterranean area. We wanted to test the initial concept with people from the Arab states. They are much different culture, mentality from the Balkan area, for example, that we are testing right now. And so we had to modify the concept, extend it to the full ESG concept. Still, we had to involve the local, to create local networks of stakeholders because this is our power for not spending too much. And I negotiated with the program authorities, and I asked if we can bring the digital platform in the second project also without funding, without new funding. And they loved it because they loved synergies between projects. Now in this second project, sorry, I'm spending too much time, but it is very important. You will love the
Worth it.
concept.
Yeah.
We are creating innovation hubs. We are doing really acceleration hubs.
Mhm.
And we have selected, we have 5 countries, 5 partners with 5 associated partners. Each one of us has an associated partner. In each partner premise and in each associated partner, we will create an acceleration hub. And these 14 hubs will operate as a network. Acceleration will be mostly virtual, sorry, except for the locals. Uh, if 2 companies are in Patras, they have no reason to be virtual. They can be here so that we are all together. Um, in this sense, listen now, I told you the problem in the previous project. In this sense, if another partner is organizing an acceleration for some modules or even all the acceleration program can be attended by our companies, by some of our companies. The problem is the language.
That's going to be a challenge too.
Yeah, but you don't care if they have a module about legal form of the new company, IPR issues, uh, or legal issues, regulations and everything, national regulations, because you have your own, you don't care about what is happening in Tunisia, for example. But when there is a mentoring session, a training session about scale up, about marketing,
That will
then
matter to
it would be
everyone.
great to attend it. Yes. And how can you attend it? Okay, listen. We are 7 partners. 4 partners are from Arab countries: Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, and Tunisia. They speak the same language. So at least for them, the network can work. In the other project, there are 4 partners from former Yugoslavia. They don't speak the same language. Each one of them has its own language, but they can understand each other.
Yeah.
I've seen them speaking.
Mhm.
I've spoken with them about it. So uh, this is one partial solution. The second solution is that you can have a transcript today. The
Yeah.
translation,
Yeah.
instant translation,
That's easy.
is not a problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
So
that problem is going away with time. It's going away, and communication is becoming quite easier. Uh,
yes, yes,
Okay, we are approaching the end of this interview, but I need to ask you 2 more questions at least. The park has been working for more than 30 years. You have some long experience there. My question is it worth it? Can you somehow measure or assess the impact that the park has had on the region? Um, do you have any way to measure that? I know it's difficult.
I don't. I don't think that some such an exercise has been done in for our park or for any other park, because, as I said, the state is not very interesting about. They have their own favorite organizations, the research institutes. They are under the auspices of the General Secretariat of Research and Technology, and they are monitoring. They have evaluation sessions every year. I'm not aware of any evaluation session of the parks, so this is good and bad. It's giving us some freedom, but self-evaluation would be a good idea now that I think of. And thanks for telling me, because because really we have to set up some indicators and monitoring them. This will help us become.
Everyone needs KPIs, right?
Uh, eh? Sorry.
Everyone needs KPIs. Everyone needs
Yes.
key performance
It,
indicators.
it is not a difficult exercise. One thing I can say, because I cooperated with the park for many years, but I was not always in the park. I stay here a few years. I go. Most of my time I was in two research institutes here. 10 years in one, 10 years in the other. I'm an old guy, but uh, I've been in Patras. I'm from Patras. I've been in Patras here for the past 26 years, and I know things. I know people. I know everybody here. I went to school here, you know. So what I can tell you is that the park has managed to become a, a leading actor in the innovation ecosystem. And this is reflected in the acceptance that we have from the region. In both the two projects that I mentioned before about acceleration, our associate partner is the region. And this is not something that anyone can claim, any other
Absolutely. Yeah.
organization. Yeah, there is a committee that evaluates all the requests and accepts or does
Hmm.
not accept the participation. And this is a good KPI, just
Okay.
to speak about KPIs.
So now looking at the future, looking ahead, are you optimistic about technology? Are you worried that AI will kill us all, or are you worried
Yes.
that institutions may freeze in fear and lose the opportunity of being the first movers? I see a lot of different attitudes towards change, the major changes that are going on nowadays. What's your view of the future?
Well, I have a lot of colleagues. I'm a mechanical engineer. I have several colleagues who are from informatics. Uh, Everyone seems scared about the consequences of the AI revolution. And yesterday I was thinking and discussing with a couple of friends that what we experienced with the internet revolution now is going up one level with the AI. Today, nobody can live without the internet. One informatics friend told me when I said, "When you lose internet, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, just ask the
How are you going to
Russians.
live?" And he said, "There is no life without internet." But imagine our dependence on internet is now immense. Very soon, we'll be born and grown and getting old on a chair, and all the mental work will be done by AI. This is a very pessimistic view, and this is a threat that we must try to avoid. AI must become an advisory tool, very powerful.
Mhm.
I've tested ChatGPT, Claude. If you play with Claude, it's amazing.
Mhm.
It's amazing. You don't need software guys anymore. You can write software for you. It is amazing, but it's also very, very scary. I think that we must keep the thinking and the innovative thinking for ourselves.
Okay, I think that's a good point to end. I want to thank you for your time and for your availability. And see you soon in some project. Thank you.
Thank you
Bye
for the
bye.
invitation. It was nice talking to you.
Bye.
Bye.
So, from this great interview, one could take, in my view, at least three lessons. The first one is that research and innovation, research and development is not innovation by itself. That's one of most important ideas that Takis raises, and is brutally simple. Research is not innovation. Publishing papers is not innovation. Even developing technology is not necessarily innovation. Innovation only exists when knowledge creators really succeed in creating value in the real economy. Jobs, firms, regional resilience, exports, competitive advantage, better life for the clients. And this distinction matters enormously inside the research programs such as Horizon Europe, because many proposals still confuse scientific excellence with economic impact. And that's not the same thing. Well, and evaluators make that distinction. They know it's not the same thing. And in today's transition economy, an isolated research result may not mean anything. The proposal must demonstrate how the knowledge survives outside the lab, real world, how it connects to markets, how it scales, how it strengthens regional ecosystems. And this is where many European regions historically struggle. And Takis described this culture where entrepreneurship was often viewed almost as a sin. Commercialization was treated with suspicion, and academics were rewarded for publishing, not for building companies. Well, global economy changed, platform capitalism arrived, AI is arriving, and the new competition is no longer just between firms, it's between ecosystems. Lesson two that I think we can take from this interview, the distributed local network strategy. What does it mean? It's probably the most practical lesson in the entire episode. If your region lacks powerful investors' networks, borrow them. Go get them from other regions. That's what Patras did. Uh, Lesson three, AI is an advisory tool, not a replacement. That third lesson may become one of the defining strategic questions in the next decade. What is the role of humans inside AI-driven innovation systems? Takis gives a remarkably clear answer. So thank you, Takis. So across my career, I watch brilliant projects fail miserably, and not because the science was weak, but because the proposals we came to conclude they lacked structural alignment. It was the wrong place, the wrong time, the wrong people, something wrong, and the evaluators could immediately see the disconnection. Stronger research and development, but weak ecosystem logic, or weak impact credibility, or weak transition positioning makes the projects look basically academic in the worst sense, the worst possible meaning of the word. Well, that destroys proposals, and that frustration is exactly why I developed the AWTY framework and transition science methodology. Because today's evaluators, they increasingly look for systemic resilience, not for isolated ideas. And that's what we need in this new world. So if you are building a consortium right now and you want to avoid wasting months on the weak proposals, I created this proposal accelerator cohort. So get in touch with me. I'll tell you the details. 5 week intensive program. As I said, get in touch. I'll give you the details. So thank you for watching the episode. Thank you to Takis for joining us. And please share the episode. Please subscribe. Please like. Every button you can press is good for the podcast. See you next week.